There are moments in life when you realize the people closest to you have been playing a role. Not loving you, just playing. And the hardest part isn't the betrayal itself. It's that you gave them the very thing they used to break you. I want to tell you the story of the day I asked one simple question about my own money, and the answer I got shattered my whole world. I'm Evelyn, 63 years old, a retired teacher, a widow of 11 years, and for most of my life the kind of mother who gave everything to her children and asked for nothing in return. My son Daniel was my pride and joy, and when he brought home his wife, Kara, I remember thinking she was the daughter I never had. Kara had this way of making everyone feel at ease. She would hug me at the door, call me mom, compliment my cooking, ask about my garden. For years I believed that was real. I believed I was part of their family in the truest sense of the word. When Daniel and Kara decided to buy a house, I didn't hesitate. I gave them every dollar I had saved across a lifetime of teaching. My retirement cushion, my safety net, close to $90,000. They said it was a loan, but I never pushed for repayment. I told them to take their time. They were family. Family takes care of family. They did not invite me to the closing. They said it was a quiet ceremony, just the two of them. And even then I understood. I thought, it's their home. I don't need to be there. I gave them the keys to their future, and I smiled as they drove away. But what I didn't know that day was that the home I helped build was never meant to include me. For months afterward, everything changed between us. The phone calls grew short, the dinners grew rare. When I came to visit, Kara would greet me at the door with a tight smile and 1,000 excuses why they were busy. I told myself it was the stress of a new home, the pressure of adult life. Mothers always make excuses for their children, even when the truth is screaming at them. It wasn't until that Sunday dinner, the one they finally agreed to have me over for, that the truth finally found me. And it didn't arrive gently. It arrived with a cold look in my daughter-in-law's eyes and a laugh that I will never forget. The dinner table was beautiful. Fresh flowers, a roasted chicken, candles, it looked like the cover of a magazine. And for a while, I let myself believe that maybe I'd been worrying over nothing. Maybe my family was whole. Kara complimented my blouse. Daniel smiled at me. For one evening, I thought I still mattered. Until dessert. I had been quiet all night, too afraid to ask, too hurt to push. But as the evening settled, I gathered up the courage and asked the question that had been sitting in my chest for weeks. Daniel, sweetheart, I said softly, I just wondered about the money I gave you for the house. I haven't seen anything of it, and I just want to know it's in a safe place. The silence was sharp as glass. Daniel wouldn't look at me. His fingers went stiff around the cup. But it was Kara who answered, and her voice was so calm, so cold, it frightened me. Oh, you're going to bring that up now? She laughed, shaking her head. At my family's dinner? Really, Evelyn? You're ruining the mood. Ruining the mood. Those words cut deeper than I can explain, because the money wasn't a mood. It was my retirement. It was what I had worked a lifetime for. The cushion I was supposed to fall back on when my own body grew too tired to work. And in her eyes it was nothing more than an awkward topic she wished I would drop. You don't need it, Daniel said quietly, still not meeting my gaze. You're fine, Mom. You've always had money. I felt the room close in on me. My chest tightened, my hands shook, and I suddenly felt like a stranger in a house I had paid for. Not a mother, not family, an inconvenience. They packed me into my car that night with a kiss on the cheek and a reminder to call before you visit. I drove home through tears, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, and I made myself remember. I remembered how they had asked for help. I remembered the promises, the I love yous, the we'll always take care of you, Evelyn. But what I didn't know that night was that my money wasn't simply not needed. It was gone. The next week I was served with a notice, an eviction. My name on the lease of my tiny apartment, which I had kept up faithfully for 11 years, but the payments hadn't been made in 4 months. In 4 months I hadn't been late on anything, so I knew it had to be wrong. I went to the bank, and that's when the floor fell out from under me. The account I thought was mine, the one that held what was left of my life's savings, had been cleaned out. Wires, transfers, month after month, all in Daniel's name. They had been stealing from me for months. The smile, the hugs, the mom, it was all a mask for their greed. I stood in that bank lobby and the world went silent. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember crying. All I remember is the cold, clear voice inside me finally waking up. They took everything, and now you're going to take it back. But I didn't lose my mind. That's when I stopped being a victim. Because I'm not the mother who screams. I'm the mother who watches and who waits and who learns exactly where every trap is buried. Because I built this family, and I know every stone in the foundation. I gave myself a week to breathe. And in that week, I became somebody they had never met. I didn't confront them. Confrontation gives them a chance to lie, to cry, to spin the story. Instead, I moved quietly. I had kept every receipt, every transfer record, every text where they promised to return it. For 30 years I had taught in a school. I knew how to keep paperwork in order. And now that careful way of mine became the key to my freedom. I called a lawyer, and I told him everything, and he listened and he smiled, because I had documentation that people dream of. I had every number, every date, every promise in writing. And then I did the one thing that hurt them the most. I stopped being available. I stopped being the open wallet, the free babysitter, the woman who said yes to every request. When Kara called, I let it ring. When Daniel begged me for help with the mortgage he couldn't pay, I said the words I never thought I'd say. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm afraid I have to ask you about the money you owe me. The mood, dear Kara? Let me ruin it now. I took back what was mine. I took the legal route, I froze the accounts, and I got my money back. The house they showed me to was worth far more than my $90,000, but I didn't want the house. I wanted the lesson, and I learned it. They spent themselves into a hole on the back of like goodness, and when the money came back, they had nothing left but the habit of taking. Daniel told me months later, crying, asking if I'd ever forgive him, and I told him the truth that set me free. I don't owe you my silence, and I don't owe you my money. Forgiveness is for the people who admit they were wrong. I gave them a chance, and they chose to bury me under debt. Now they live with the weight of what they did, and I sleep with the peace of a woman who finally stopped being a doormat for her own blood. Moral: giving too much is a quiet kind of self-destruction. The people who love you will never take your all, and then mock you for asking. So take care of your own, not out of cruelty, but out of worth. You are not a lifeline for people who only reach for you when they need a hand. You are a person who deserves peace, and it's never a crime to take back what they stole. It's the sweetest justice there is, and I sleep better now than I ever did.